We putting work, turning nothing into something. They feelings hurt, we turning nothing into something. Give a fuck if they don't like me, cause all this bread I count excites me. Turning nothing to something, nothing into something. Turning nothing into something, nothing into something. Give a fuck if they don't like me, cause all this bread I count excites me.
What up, what up, what up, what up? What is going on, everybody? What is going on? Is your boy Hector coming to you from Washington Heights. You know what it is. And very excited these days. Very excited these days as our New York Mets have been turning nothing into something. Yes, sir. We're turning nothing into something. They're turning nothing into something. And Juan Soto certainly turned nothing into something as he's become the highest paid baseball player ever. I think they said the largest contract in sports. I don't know. I know some of these soccer guys sometimes get these crazy contracts, but I think that's what I heard. So listen, man, I can't wait till the season starts. You guys know I was on late Sunday night after we found out the news into Monday morning. And a lot of you people joined. I love you guys for that. And we had some fun, but we had to do the regular show. And for that, I wanted to bring somebody in to join us who did a little video, right? That got a lot of run, that caught my attention, caught a lot of people's attention, that was very adamant about the fact that the Mets needed to bring in Juan Soto. And obviously, I wanted this for a long time, right? But the way that this guy put it out there even caught me. And as the process went along, you know, you guys know me. I was not flip-flopping, but a little concerned, or not concerned. I was a little doubtful that it could happen. I mean, I was one that as soon as the trade of Soto to the Yankees was made, I figured that's it. We were done. There was no way that Juan Soto would see the Mets. You know, I thought he was, even if he didn't sign an extension, because we know those things don't really happen, especially, not that they don't happen, but they don't necessarily happen with a Scott Boras client, right? Those guys usually go to free agency. So I had my doubts, but not this guy. This guy was adamant. He was confident. He never wavered. Anyone that said anything other than that Juan Soto was going to the Mets, he was right there letting them know that they were out of their mind. And I appreciate it. Even full disclosure, this is blunt choice, ladies and gentlemen. Even if sometimes I rolled my eyes like, man, this dude, I really hope he's right, because if he's not, they're gonna come after him just like they're gonna come after Mike Deportes, right, the barber. But without further ado, let's bring my man up here, Masterflip. How you doing, brother?
What's going on, my brother? Good to see you.
Same here. I mean, you heard what I was saying, man. You was on it. And I was looking for the video so I could share it with the people here. For those that have been under a rock and haven't seen it, right? But man, you got a lot of stuff on your page and I can't find it. And I'm not as good as other people that looking this stuff up. But yeah, man, you made that video. You caught all of our attention. We were actually part of Keith's what was it? Uncomfortable Conversation, was it? I know we were together on one of Keith's shows. Where we spoke about the video and he shared it, but you know it's been a while, so I kind of wanted to bring it back up, and I wanted to give you props for that because, like I said, man, you was on it. But listen, we got him. How you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm holding off on the excitement, but I'm feeling good.
No, there's no reason to hold off, man. Now's the time to be excited, man. We were waiting for this and we got it.
You know what? When I think that when we finally see him don the orange and blue on Thursday, that's when it's gonna sink in. So
okay,
I'm holding off on that excitement.
Look at that. You just gave me some news. So it's Thursday, the press conference. I was actually talking to someone earlier, and I said, I think it'll probably be Friday here. I'm hoping it's in Citi Field. I'm hoping it's at Citi Field. But is
hopefully,
it Thursday?
I saw some report out there. They said Thursday is when it's going to happen, so we'll see.
Okay. I think the winter meetings go to the 12th, which I guess would be Thursday, but I know sometimes some of those guys cut out early or whatever. Those dates are kind of like fluid at the beginning and at the end. That's how it begins and ends. But yeah, no, you're right. Once we see him put that jersey on, man, listen, I've been daydreaming about it for a long time. I don't know if you saw my post earlier today where I posted, I was looking through my phone and I found a few pictures because almost every time that he played against the Mets all these years, I would always go and shout, "Hey, Soto, tiene que venir Palomé, whatever." take my picture, and I always had. So today I posted a couple of pictures, like back from 2018. Like, yo, I've been stalking this guy for a long time. 2018, 21, I think it was. And then a couple of pictures that I found. And yeah, just doing that, daydreaming about seeing him in a Mets jersey. But let me ask you, like I said, brother, you never wavered. You never wavered. I don't know how old you are. I'm not even gonna ask that. I know we're not females, No offense to the females. I know females, you don't ask them their age. You can share it if you want to.
I'm 35. I'm 35.
35. Okay, there we go. So that does explain a little bit. I'm 48, as everybody knows. I'm an old fart, right? Compared to you guys, right? So I don't know if it's that or what it is, but to me, the Yankee mystique, the Yankee lore, whatever you want to call it, I thought it existed, right? I don't want to say that it existed because I don't want to totally eliminate it, but man, so I always felt like that would be a factor. And like I said, I was a little doubtful, but you never wavered. What gave you so much confidence? Obviously, besides Steve Cohen, because I think that was a lot of the basis of the confidence. Like, nobody's going to give him more money than Steve Cohen, right? No one's going to give. But what made you so confident, brother?
I think as a Met fan, I think that there's no point in saying that we have the richest owner in baseball if this is not the conversation that we're gonna have. And Cohen really wanted Yamamoto last year. He missed out on that guy. So I just felt that he was gonna go the extra mile because if he misses out on Soto, and it's like we're missing out on top free agents on back-to-back years. What are we doing? So I really felt that Steve was gonna go that extra mile, and I know the Yankees were gonna put up a fight to the very end, but I felt confident in Steve's ability to make it happen.
No, for sure. And I think, I always felt that way too. But I felt like, because people were very loud about some people, I don't want to say ignorantly, but I thought were a little too much. Where if we don't land Juan Soto, Steve Cohen is a failure, and this is one that you have to have, and for the reasons that you said, and I was right there with everyone. And I guess as I'm thinking about it, maybe I just didn't want to be hurt, right? And I was preparing myself for the hurt that I would feel when he didn't sign with us. Because no matter what, even though I was saying I don't think it's gonna happen, I was gonna be upset, bro. I was gonna be upset because I feel the same way. What is the point of having Steve Cohen and I'm being told about all this money all the time if we can't make this type of move?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not gonna say we get outbid because I never felt like we were gonna get outbid, but I did wonder. Full disclosure, I think everybody's seen it. If you're watching this, if you watch anything I do, I wondered how much Steve Cohen would be willing to overstep his president of baseball operation, the man that he bringing here to run things, right? And I question how far or how high would David Stearns want to go. Because I don't think that, David Stearns is someone that's going to want to blow people out the frame. He's going to, he's going to set values and you'll go over it a little bit, but not too much. So, I did worry about that, but I also felt like, this is the fish. This is the one that you have to get. And for all the talk that we hear and we take part in saying, whether we're going to take over the Yankees, we're not going to take over the Yankees, or we're taking over the town and blah, 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 blah. Well, this is how you do it. And we did it. We went toe to toe with these guys, and we came out with the prize. So that and again, not that I was fighting it off, but I would say that means more to us, the fans. That means more to us, the fans. But the reality is that means
a lot.
Something to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Even throughout baseball, they're looking like, oh, okay, yeah, we all knew this could happen. But now we've seen it happen where the Mets actually went up there and took the Yankees down for the top free agent, for someone that they really wanted. These Yankee fans can cope all they want, and they can act like they don't care all they want. They know damn well they wanted that guy back, and they would have been out here celebrating just like we are. That's why I just laugh. I just laugh at the Yankee fans. I don't even get involved with that stuff right now. And I got a lot of friends, and all that stuff, but it is what it is, They want to say, oh, we have all this money to spend. Talk about that real quick because we're going to get out of here in an hour, maybe even less. But we're going to touch on some news as we go along. I found out. I think it's official. Yes, I think I saw Jeff passing, right? So they went out there and spent some of that money, and they got Max Fried 8 years, 260 million. Did I see that right? Do you know, Flip?
Uh, haven't seen that yet. No.
Yeah, 8 years, 8 years, $218 million. Unless this is a fake. Unless this is a fake, but I see two different
Oh, there we go. Yeah, Yankees 218 8 year.
218 a year. I gotta be honest with you, brother. I'm totally okay with that. I'm totally okay with that because one thing I'm in line with David Stearns is not giving these long term deals to pitchers. So I don't have a problem with that. Good for them. But hey, you want to go spend now $700 million on things like that? That's fine. But back to the Soto thing before we go too far. Um, Now that we have Juan Soto, right? That we will be taking part in your orquesta that you're gonna put together out
Right.
there.
Got the weed coming in tomorrow.
You know what I'm saying? Um, what else do we do? This can't be it, right?
This is not it. This is why I'm holding off on the excitement. I'm excited for what's to come. Obviously getting Soto was a big thing. Now it's like, what's next? Obviously the conversation, there's that emotional tie with Pete Alonso. Um, we got to get Pete back. If we don't get Pete back, then how do we pivot from there? But
Right.
definitely, I want to see the big moves.
Now, where do you stand on Peter Alonso? Because I'm someone that wants Peter Alonso back. Um, and I know you're smiling. I think I have a feeling what you're gonna say. And shout out to everybody in the chat. I'll get to your comments. I see the comments coming in. And as I tell everybody, I'm going over here so I can look at my lineup, right? And I was gonna start putting stuff on the screen. That's still like the topic we're talking about. But already we're jumping all over the place. Because as I pulled my lineup up, I'm like, oops, I forgot to get into a couple of things about the Soto contract that I didn't get to yet, and now we're jumping to Pete Alonso. So you know what? Let's pause the Pete Alonso conversation and let's go back because I did remember this, and I did want to talk to you about this, right? Because again, you were on some. I don't give a damn what it takes. You go get Juan Soto, and I was like, damn, I want the guy, but I also want to be smart. You know what I'm saying? And Flip, by nature, I just don't like long-term deals. Those don't work out for the team, even with a 26-year-old generational talent. I don't care what nobody says. Those last years, but again, maybe it's because I'm so old. I don't know. Why the hell am I worried about the end of the contract when we should be able to enjoy, some success, a lot of success in the beginning of the contract? But 15 years, $765 million. Your thoughts on that? I mean, 15. Did I say 7 years? 15 years, $765 million. Your
I
thoughts
mean,
on that outrageous contract?
at the end of the day, this is more than Juan Soto. This is transforming the fan base and transforming New York and setting a new standard for New York baseball. Mets and Yankees. This is what Steve Cohen did is just put he just set the standard. And this is greater than Juan Soto. I know we want free agents to come here, and we want free agents. We want there to come a time where free agents are willing to take less to come to New York. But what are you taking less for? Now the Mets are in a position where they have Juan Soto and they have leverage. And you know what? And just like I said in that video, you're gonna see free agents take less to come to New York because of number one, the culture that they're creating, and number two, the formula to winning, the owner willing to do whatever it takes to field a competitive team. And that's what we're gonna see with Juan Soto. This it's not gonna end with just Juan Soto. If you were to tell me that we get Juan Soto and the offseason ends here, it's a failure, in my opinion. You know, that's why I'm excited for what the Mets are gonna do next.
No, it absolutely would be a failure. We share in that opinion. Now, what I do struggle with, right, is when you say, failures are not going to take less. And I don't want to say take less, take discounts or anything like that. I just want to say take fair deal, not try to get every last penny from you, right? So I do worry about what kind of president have you set with this type of deal? Why am I going to take less when you gave this dude all of this money and I know you're worth 20 plus $billion? Take less. Take no, give me more. You know what I'm saying? Why should we expect now Pete Alonso to take a discount, to take less, to give us a hometown discount when he just seen us bring two guys from outside the organization and pay them well, right? And listen, more power to those guys. I'm not saying more power to them, but I struggle with that, right? But at the same time, the Dodgers did it with Otani, right? And did Teoscar Hernandez take less, or did he take a less in money or less of a commitment, right? So we may be able to see that. I don't know. Maybe he could have got more money per year somewhere else and more years, but he said, you know what? This is enough per year, and I'll just take it for 1 year in the opt out, and we'll see what he does now. We'll see now if he takes a little bit less than he may be offered out there to go back to the Dodgers, like he says he wants to be there, as opposed to going somewhere else. So I do struggle with that, right? I struggle with giving a player a suite. And I know to a lot of people, what's the big deal? And people want to clown on the Yankees because the Yankees didn't give him a suite. But I don't, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe somebody knows. Maybe you know. I don't think there's any teams out here doing that. I don't think there are any teams out here doing that. So does Pete Alonso get a suite now? You see what I'm getting at? Does Francisco Lindor, whose family has caught shit on social media, should he now get a suite for his wife and his young girls so that they're not bothered? Like, where does it
I mean,
stop?
the sweet thing is an incentive at the end of the day. Um, you mentioned
That's a
Lindor.
that's a huge that's a huge incentive.
Well, I mean, let's go back to A-Rod in 2000. If you were the Mets and you were guaranteed to get A-Rod in 2000 by offering a suite, would you offer it?
Well, we walked away because we didn't want to give him an office or whatever the hell it
Right. So
was.
that's the exact situation that the Yankees were in. They were unwilling to go that extra mile and they lost on their guy. So at the end of the day, the question is, do you want the guy? You want the guy? Okay, what does it take? And the Yankees weren't willing to go that far. The Mets were, and we got the guy.
No, yeah, and you're right. You're right. We lost out on the guy before because we weren't to go that far, and it pissed me off. And if I'm honest, if we didn't land him, and it came out that it was because we weren't willing to give him a suite, it
Hmm.
would have pissed me off, right? Um, you know, along with the suite, we've heard, the family atmosphere. Obviously, I think everybody's heard the story about how his chef slash driver and maybe his dad or mom or both were stopped in the at different times by security, not to get into the stadium, but to get into certain parts of the stadium, maybe certain access they weren't afforded, and stuff like that. So obviously, there comes the Mets and the family atmosphere that we've witnessed as fans, and obviously they portrayed to him, with Alex Cohen. Shout out to her, credit to her, for what she's doing. Who's obviously shout out to my guy Six, who always said Alex Cohen is the one running things really, and I was laughing at him like, "Yo, dude, you're a maniac." He may not be wrong. Some of us maniacs are sometimes right, but at the same time, I look at him, man, and I'm like, come on, let's be for real. And I said this something, and I said this even beforehand. Like, I don't really want to hear that crap, bro. You know what I don't want to hear on Thursday, Friday, whenever the hell. Don't talk to me about the farm system. Don't talk to me about that. None of those. That's just to me. I said even then, Juan Soto don't give a damn about none of that crap, bro. That's David Stearns. I mean, that's Scott Boras talk right there. Those are just the language that he uses to negotiate his contracts. You know what I'm saying? We gave you the most money. You set out there to set a standard for players coming behind you, all that. That's fine. Don't feed me the garbage. But I'm pretty sure we'll hear some of that. But I say that to say that yeah, I'm sure some of that stuff has something to do with it, and I like the idea that some of that stuff has something to do with it because I've been calling for it, right? I was out here last week, not too long ago, talking about Jose Iglesias being a great salesman for the Mets. So I do think that stuff matters. But in this case, why didn't you take 730 then?
I mean, we can't sit here and say that because if you're the Yankees, because you didn't get a suite, that was the only factor in signing with the Mets. I truly think that he chose the Mets. And if you're gonna spend 15 years, he has the opt out, but let's face it, he's gonna be here 15 years. If you're gonna spend 15 years with an organization, you want to be treated well, you want to make sure your family's well. Obviously, the money's right. You got to see the direction that the organization is going. So maybe, yeah, he did look into the core that the Mets have, the prospects, the Lindor under 30, the Nemo 31, Vientos 24, the guy 22, 23. So the Mets have a young core. And I think it was a combination of everything. It was just it wasn't just let me get a suite and we'll sign it no, I think it was more. And the fact that he chose us, like, think about it. We went neck and neck with the Yankees, the New York Yankees. We went neck and neck with the Yankees, and he chose us at the end of the day.
No, for sure. It's a big statement, man. It's a big statement. And listen, I always felt like he was flirting with us with his social media posts and some of his comments that he always made. So that always also gave me hope that this would be the result. So like I said, man, I'm ecstatic, but it's a conversation. These are conversations. That's all it is. It doesn't mean that I'm mad that we got him, that I'm mad that he got a suite, that I'm mad that he got 15 years. No, I'm just being open about the thoughts that I have, my blunt thoughts that I have. You know what I'm saying? Let's shout out the chat real quick. Let's see what we got up in here real quick before we move on. Darren, my guy, shout out to Darren, man. Always showing love to everybody. Appreciate you, man. How you doing, Patty? Cindy, glad you're live. Glad you're live, Cindy. Glad you're live. Yes, sir. We saw that, Nelson. You guys know how I like to do it. Even if we spoke about something, even your post is late, there's just a way of me saying hello without saying hello sometimes. So I'll put your comments as I keep going through here. De lo mío. Dime a ver, de lo mío. Te lo dije, este el hombre que va a hacer la orquesta de lo mío. Que vamos para allá. Ya tú sabes.
So that band, baby. Let's go.
That's my boy Joel, another good Dominican, baby. We're all good. But yeah, man, we touched on it a little bit. And the whole Pete Alonso situation. Where are you on Pete Alonso, man? Where are you on Pete Alonso? I want Pete back.
I know there's an emotional connection with the fans and Pete Alonso. Obviously, this guy has a chance to break every offensive record and the big home run in Game 3. I get all that, but right, if I were to tell you that the Mets are gonna miss out on Pete, but they're gonna get a guy like Vladdy, how would you feel about that?
Listen, no matter what, I'm gonna be upset that we let Pete go. Well, you say, but we're gonna get Vladdy. Are we gonna get Vladdy this year? Or we're gonna wait to hopefully sign him in free agency next year? You know what I'm saying? How is that gonna happen?
So
now I'm focused about the here and now, not the dream or the thought that. And sometimes you got to think like that. Sometimes you have to play ahead. Sometimes you have to think ahead. I get it, but to me it's just, and I know Vladdy's younger. Vladdy's a more complete hitter. I'm not gonna say Vladdy's a better defensive player. I don't watch enough, and I don't care about the numbers. I think Pete is more than an adequate defensive player. Does he struggle throwing?
Vladdy's better defensively.
Okay, I'll take. You could put all your opinion out there as far as that. I'm not saying who's better. I'm just saying I think Pete is an adequate enough first baseman.
Okay,
but above all that, call me a sucker, call me whatever. Pete is one of us. Pete is a New York Met. And I believe in my heart that Pete can be part of a World Series winning team if we put
What
the right team together.
what I fear with Pete is there's gonna be a team who's gonna offer a contract, something astronomical that's gonna become out of scope for the Mets. Um, and so, if you're the Mets, I'm not expecting Pete to take a discount. Obviously, we just gave 800 million to Juan Soto. I don't expect the Mets to nickel and dime Pete. Um, but how much does Pete leave on the table if he were to get, let's say, 200 somewhere versus what the Mets are going to give him? Is that going to be enough for him to say, okay, I'm getting, I don't know, one close to 200, 180, 190 from the Mets. If I'm offered north of 200 elsewhere, am I leaving that on the table to come back to New York? I don't think he does.
And listen, and if he doesn't, if that's what happens, then that's what happens. And we have to move on. And then it's like, you know what, Pete, go to fucking hell. Now we're gonna bust your ass. Right? Because that's how I am. I'm a New York Mets fan before anything. I root for these guys. And right now I say Pete is one of us. And I want him back. But if Pete chooses to leave, I'm gonna be upset. At the same time, I'm gonna say, why the hell couldn't we pay Pete? Why couldn't we pay Pete? People want to tell me, oh, Pete's gonna break down. Pete this, Pete that. And Juan Soto's gonna stay 26 forever? Oh, but that's 10 years ahead. Okay. Well, Pete is gonna break down in what, 3-4 years? Hopefully we got 2 World Series by then. You know? And I'm always gonna go back to I'd rather pay one of our guys. And I always think that throughout baseball. I don't have a problem with a team even overpaying a little bit one of their guys than another team doing it. Because at least you're paying them a little bit for what they've done and what they've earned and for what you hope they're gonna do. But I just don't think I don't think Peter's gonna age as badly as people think. When you want to tell me his back's gonna slow down or anything like that, I don't think his body's gonna break down. He's never shown any signs of breaking down. If anything, he's shown signs he comes back faster than he should. He did it 2 years ago. Last season, there were a couple of times he got hit by a pitch, he got this, and you thought, oh my gosh, no way this guy plays tomorrow. And there was Pete right there again. I think he played 162 games again.
I think if the offers are close, I think we can retain Pete. But again, there's always going to be a team out there. And I've mentioned the Cubs. If there's a team out there that go well north of 200 in the 220, 230 range for Pete Alonso, are the Mets going to go there? I don't. At that point, I think Pete is a goner.
Okay. I hear that. I guess we're kind of like flipped right now, right? And I'm not gonna say I don't think that the Mets won't do that because I do think David Stearns is gonna be real strict about how he gives out money when he's left alone to do his thing. But does maybe Steve Cohen step in and says, you know what? As a fan, as someone else, I'm willing to overpay for Pete because I know what it means to the fan base. And I've said I came here to make the fans happy, and I don't want to disappoint. And damn it, I love Pete too, and maybe even David Stearns is a fan, but I don't think David Stearns will go there. He more than anyone needs to separate his fandom from the job that he's doing. You know what I'm saying?
But I don't want the Pete market to drag. I think the Mets should approach it with Boris the same way they did with Nemo. Is like, let's get together, let's see what it takes to come back, type thing, and let's just get a deal done.
Right.
I don't want Boris to showcase him around and drag the Pete market because we can pivot from Pete and we can pivot fast.
No, I hear you. I actually was hoping that would be done this week, but done in a way where Pete is coming back. But no, listen, if Pete's not here, go out there and get me Vlad Jr. Is he available? I don't know if he is. Everybody keeps throwing him around like he's available because we're assuming. I haven't seen the Toronto Blue Jays say we're listening to offers for Vlad Jr. I know he's a free agent, and people feel like, they have to trade him. Well, we've seen a couple of teams not trade a player in his walk year. We saw Ohtani not get traded. Obviously, the Yankees weren't going to trade Soto. You know what I'm saying? But even Pete didn't get traded, and his walk year. So teams are willing to let guys play their walk years out in hopes of returning them, and just to not get that bad PR, I guess sometimes or whatever the case may be. And if they start the season with them and they play well, then obviously they're not going to trade them.
I think that the free agency, 2026 free agency, that the Yankees and the Red Sox, that deterrent factor, like it'll be an organizational mistake not to trade Vladdy now if you're the Blue Jays. Had you signed a Juan Soto, maybe you can, approach the guy with an extension. But if you're not going to extend the guy, if you're the Blue Jays, so you're not going to extend the guy, and Vladdy walks in free agency, now you fear Vladdy signing with either the Red Sox or the Yankees. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be the Yankees and the Red Sox going neck to neck with Vladdy. So if you are the Blue Jays and you're not going to sign Vladdy now, your best thing to do would be to approach a team outside of that East, AL East, like the Mets, who would be in the market for a first baseman if they, decide to pivot from Pete, to approach the Mets. And obviously it's gonna be it's gonna be a sexy return because they're gonna allow us a window to negotiate a new deal with Vladdy. And at that point, he's gone from the AL East, and we get our first baseman of the future. So I think that's the realistic um, shot that we have of getting Vlad, not through free agency next year, only through trade this year.
Okay, okay, well, and I guess we shall see. And listen, I always say this too, like good president, GM, whatever. Those are the kind of moves that you make. The moves that nobody expects or that people are calling for, whatever they can be. But you go out there and you execute those moves. You go out there and maybe you convince a team like Toronto, who may not be thinking about trading them, but you approach them in a certain way that you make them feel like, yes, this is the best thing for your organization, and we're giving you the best package you're gonna get now, mid-season, no matter when it is. I'm sorry, guys. You saw me put my arms. I got SNY on here, and they gave me the Braves game. The last game of the season, or the second to last game of the season when we excuse me, when we took them over. Um, but yeah, man. No, listen for sure. Now, I'll say this: that's the kind of pivot that I would like to see made, as opposed to I don't want to hear no Christian Walker crap. I don't want to hear. I think even Paul Goldschmidt is a free. I don't want to hear none of that nonsense. I don't want to hear Alex Bregman to third base, and we'll move Mark Vientos to first. I'm glad David Stearns keeps telling everybody, no, we're looking at Mark Vientos as our third baseman. We see him as our third baseman in 2025 because I think the kid has earned that. He put in the work. Was he great? No, but I think it could be better. I think it can get better. And he's shown the willingness to put in the work. We see the videos, we see the pictures all day, every day, with him working out on his own, with him working out for Francisco Lindor. So I'm cool with Mark Vientos there. What are your thoughts on that? On maybe going that avenue if we don't get Pete back? No trade for Nolan Arenado, sign Alex Bregman. Who else? I forget all of those. What do you?
I
Would you
mean, I
like? Would
mean,
you be interested in any of those?
I'd be interested in like a Yandy Diaz, high on base percentage guy like that can rake. Um, I'm not too, sold on the Arenados and Christian Walker. Not sold on those guys. I think if we're gonna pivot from Pete, it's with the understanding that we're gonna go with something big.
No, listen, that's a good one, Andy Diaz. That's not a bad option at all. That's not a bad option at all. But listen, again, I can't stay here too long, so I don't want to drag on too long or too much on these topics. My first choice is bring Pete Alonso back. Bring Pete Alonso back. Real quick, how do you feel about this Clay Holmes as the Mets? For those that don't know, the Mets signed Clay Holmes to a 3-year deal, $38 million. Pretty sure there's an opt out after the second year. Their idea is to bring him in as a starter. To bring him in as a starter. What are your thoughts on that?
It's gonna be interesting to see how they stretch out his arm to, have him go 4 or 5 innings. Talk about a guy who's never pitched more than 60 or 68 innings in his career. So, you know, at this point in his career, guy, how old is he? 30, 31? He's up there. To ask a guy to go over 100 innings, it's a tough thing to do, but that transition, I like the move. I think, but I like the move on the back end of the bullpen. I think that, you know, a guy to pair with Diaz at the back end, the eighth inning, we saw Clay Holmes a pitch in non-safe situations and he was lights out. So I like him in the back end to kind of, you know, uh, test the waters with him in the rotation. I could see it potentially work out. When I saw the Dodgers in the World Series, like their guys were going 4 or 5 innings. They were maxing out 4 or 5 innings. So if we could, keep guys fresh and have a guy max out, give me 4 solid innings and turn it to the pen. If we were to establish a good pen, then I think that may be a good formula to kind of maxing out on guys.
Yeah, for me, and listen, you're talking about he could be a good setup man to Diaz, and I'm thinking like, damn, so we would need him to fail first in order for him to do that, right? Because their plan is for him to start. They feel good. I was listening to David Stearns a little bit earlier. They feel good about his repertoire. They feel good about their processes and being able to help him to become a starter. So I think they're gonna go all out and trying to make this happen. So we're gonna deal with some frustrations in order to go for him to end up to be that setup guy. But I listen. When I see it, I'm like, what the hell are we doing? What the hell are we doing? Can we go out there and get a legit starter? And if we're gonna do experiments with starters or whatever the hell you want to call it, can we do an experiment with a Walker Bueller or Flaherty, whatever? Can we do those kind of experiments with guys that are trying to bounce back, but at least have established themselves at one point, like we did with Manai and Severino? Do we need to do this nonsense? I mean, we had someone that was begging to be a starter. And I know it was a different regime in Seth Lugo, and we let his ass walk. So then I'm like, wait a minute. Look at how that turned out. So maybe that could work. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, I did a post earlier today, which a little bit different, had a little bit different than this, but I gotta trust these guys. I gotta trust Jeremy Hefner and the guys underneath him and the guys in the minors and everybody that involved in the development, the geeks, all of that. They have now built some groundwork in order for us to trust them. You know what I'm saying? I gotta trust David Stearns and what he believes. Listen, I was questioning almost every move he made last offseason, and a lot of them worked out. So I gotta give him the benefit of the doubt. Give him the benefit of the doubt, but I'll be the first one screaming and hollering like, why the hell didn't we get some real starters if that doesn't work?
Yeah,
You
I mean, the whole idea of converting him into a starter, like when shout out to Keith, he actually brought it up in one of the spaces and he's been, running with that. When I thought of Clay Holmes as a starter, I thought about Jordan Hicks of the Giants, how they turned him into a starter.
Mhm.
Talk about reliever all his career and now he's converted into starter. And that didn't particularly work out for the Giants. You look at his production in 2024. So that's what I fear from a Clay Holmes.
Right.
And of course, to be a starter, you got to have 2+ pitches. I see him kind of as a two two pitch pitcher, I would say.
Right.
Um,
But
so
we
it's
saw
it's it's definitely going to be interesting to see what the Mets do, and the processes that they have in place.
I forgot who was there was another guy that they turned to a starter last year. Another team turned into a starter last year that actually
Well,
did have
Lugo, but
success.
remember Lugo was
No, no. Well,
he
besides
started for the
Lugo,
Mets.
I thought besides Lugo, I thought like last season someone else. And then we seen someone who I already seen the comments here. I see my guy Emizi saying, why is everybody so high on this guy? But a Gary Crochet? Isn't he someone that was turned from a reliever to a starter too? And everybody wants to go and get this guy now. So I think we're seeing it throughout baseball. Um, Again, I'm gonna keep an open mind to it. At the end of the day, he is now a Met. Figure something out. He is now a Met with with a pretty hefty contract. So I don't think he's gonna be one of those guys that we're just gonna just DFA during the season or anything like that if it doesn't work out like we did some guys like the Adrian Houses and stuff like that. Let's just hope that this is a better project than Adrian Houser. Even though Adrian Houser had already done it in Milwaukee, both start and be a reliever. But we'll see. We'll see as far as that goes. But I kind of mentioned it before. We're gonna try to get out of here in 15 minutes, so I want to try to kind of like wind it down. But thank you for coming through, brother. I appreciate you.
Anytime, my brother.
And to everyone in the chat, like I said, we want to try to get up in there too. But as far as options, and we talked about Vlad, but the whole Gary Crochet, Luis Castillo, as I forgot the S there, so not Castillo. But obviously, if you're willing to trade for Vlad, this is where I really want to go with this. And I would assume you might be willing to make these trades, definitely for Luis Castillo, who wouldn't want to trade for him. And Crochet, I know some people worry about exactly what I just said. This guy's never been a starter. He's just started doing it now. He's had injury problems, whatever the case may be. But what is your interest level on those things if they're able to happen? And really, how do you feel about the whole prospects? I saw that David Stearns also commented on that, and I wanted to share some of that stuff. But if I start sharing clips and stuff like that, we're gonna be here all night, and it'll be one of those blunt thoughts 2-hour shows that I don't have time for today. And I'm not sure if you want to be a part of, but I kind of lost my train of thought there. No, yeah. So, what is your feeling on prospects? Right? Are you willing to? Are you one of these prospect huggers? Are you willing to trade prospects? Are you one of them kids? What do you stand?
I'm not a big Luis Castillo fan. I don't want to see the guy in orange and blue. I want to see Gary Crochet, and I want the Mets to they have to offer what you got to offer to get him. We're at that point. If you have to offer 2 top 5 prospect, do it. We're at that point where I see Gary Crochet as a potential number 1. Like his K per 9 is insane, and we got a young, controllable guy. He's a lefty. Just looking ahead at the potential matchup, talking about the Phillies, if you're going to play them in a short series, who are the biggest bats are lefties? Harper, Schwarber. When you look at, if you're going to match up with the Dodgers, they got what? They got like 5, 6 lefties in their lineup. So I want shutdown lefties. I want Gary Crochet.
Yeah, no, I actually had a friend say, "Oh, he's a lefty." I'm like, "Wait a minute, lefties are usually what people want." And this is not a good idea. Sorry, guys. Got kind of warm. We're gonna turn it on the AC, but that was a little too loud. No, yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to it either. And I'm someone like, listen, prospects become suspect, and I've always said, man, a good president of baseball operations, a good GM, a good person in charge of baseball figures out which young guys to move on from, which guys to sell on hype, which guy, you know what I'm saying? So I'll leave that to David Stearns as to who he trades. He doesn't trade from the minor leagues. I don't have an attachment to any of those guys besides maybe Luis Angel Acuna, and that's because I've seen them.
I think the only prospect that I'm inclined to hold on to is Brandon Sprout, because he's a pitching prospect, number 1 prospect. Aside from that, you could grab him by 2s. I don't care.
Yeah, no, and listen, I'll say Acuna because I've seen him, and for me it's like that, Flip. I don't get too much into the scouting reports and hype because I've been through a lot of these hype, dude. You know what I'm saying? Lasses Millich, Fernando Martinez, all of these dudes, and it all looks good. And I know there's different ways of evaluating now, and to get a better sense of these guys. But unless I see them, and I like with my eye test, I'm like, okay, I see something there. Like I did with Vientos all this time, and I was like, no, I like this dude. Yo, as Jay comes on the screen, and I'm like, no, I like this dude. This dude's gonna be a player. You know what I mean? Francisco Alvarez, who I still believe in. that's when I'm like, nah, I wouldn't want to trade him. But if it's gonna make us better, trade anybody. But I'm not trading those two guys. But even on Acuna that I saw last year, and I think could be successful. And I'm hoping that maybe, depending on what we do, if we trade a Jeff McNeil, we don't trade a Jeff McNeil, and even if we don't trade a Jeff McNeil, I would like to see Acuna, if he doesn't end up in a trade, maybe get a shot. Not maybe, definitely get a shot to win that second base job in
Yeah,
spring training.
I love Acuna. I think he's our second base solution at this point. McNeil's expendable.
Yeah, expendable. I like McNeil, although I think it might be time to trade McNeil, and I don't have a problem with it. But I think McNeil also has a lot more value than people recognize sometimes. Like, listen, this guy could play both corner outfields, could play almost every infield position. I think he will even serve as your backup catcher. Corbin Burns. Thoughts on Corbin Burns, real quick.
I mean, look at what Max Fry just got. What is a contract for Corbin Burns going to look like? It's going to be in the 220s, 230s. Um, but we're at a point where we got Soto. The ownership is indicating we're all in. Get us a Corbin Burns. Why not?
Yeah, I was gonna say, listen, money should not be an object. Now, I'm not out here pining for Corbin Burns. I never. I don't know. There's not some. I don't know. Sometimes some players just don't attract my attention. Not saying that he's not good. Not saying that he wouldn't be a great addition. But. I wouldn't want to have given Max Fried 8 years. The 218, whatever. I know it's gonna make my tickets and everything else more expensive, but it is what it is. I have to go to less games. I already don't eat when I go to most games because hey, it ain't that kind of party. But I wouldn't want to give Corbin Burns 8 years. How old is he? He's also 30, right? Around 30.
30.
Yeah, no, I'm good on that. And honestly, I don't think David Stearns is going to want to give Corbin Burns. Listen, he keeps telling us over and over and over and over, directly and indirectly, that he's not into those long-term deals for pitchers. And I am right there with him. I wouldn't give a pitcher more than 5 years, bro. I just won't. I'm sorry. And you have to be less than 30 for me to give you that. Anything more than 5 years. You got to be like Juan Soto age. You know what I mean? And I know that sometimes you're going to have to do it. Sometimes you got to come out of your comfort zone to land the guy, especially, based on where you are as an organization. And we just, like you said, we just went and got Juan Soto. We are in win now mode, which I felt like we were anyways. That's why last year I kept saying, like early on, when people were like, oh, trade Luis Severino, we'll trade Maná, we get more prospects. It's about 2025 and beyond. I'm like, yeah, F that crap. F that crap. You got Francisco Lindor, you got Brandon Nimmo, you got Edwin Diaz. You got enough guys here to win, and these guys are in the win window right now. They ain't getting younger. And now you at Juan Soto. Yeah, you don't stop. So as much as I don't want the long-term deals, whatever, if we do go out there and get Corbin Burns, more power to us. Let's go. I honestly don't see it happen. I know it
I
came
mean,
up there.
a lot of fans see Corbin Burns and they see his numbers across the board that they're on the decline. He's still nasty. Coleman Burns is nasty, and if you're the Mets and you got guys like Senga coming off short 2024, and you got these reclamation projects in the rotation, like look at Corbin Burns last year, 194 innings, 2023, 193 innings, 22, 202 innings. So you're guaranteed a horse in the rotation. That's what the Mets need. They need a number one, and they need a number one who's going to give them close to 200 innings. So you're not going to get Corbin Burns on a 5-year deal. So if you're the Mets now, do you give a 7-8 year deal to Corbin Burns? And that's a conversation that we're at now. I'm
Right.
comfortable.
Right. And as I'm looking through the comments here, I'm glad I did. I don't know if you know, I'm not paying attention, right? Someone that maybe could have been an option on one of those shorter term deals, but someone you can count on with, who's had some injuries, whatever, but who's also had plenty of postseason success and has that pedigree and experience. Nathan Evaldi re-signs with the Rangers. Shout out to my guy Darren for the news here. So I don't know if you had a thought of Evaldi as an option. His name has been thrown out there.
Nasty
Um,
Nate.
yeah, so there goes that. Now, other names that we've heard: the Walker Builders, Flaherty. Um, I don't know. Is there anyone else out there besides the Coleman Burns or those guys that you may, and obviously the trade for Crochet and maybe the trade that we're not even hearing about or even thinking about that David Stearns may make. Bring Pete back, damn it! Bring Pete back. The Pete Alonso
Bring him back, baby.
always makes an appearance because that's what we're making sure that we let it be known we want Pete back. That's why he's here. Anyways,
So the perfect scenario for me for the Mets to round off the rotation would be a combination of Manaya, Corbin Burns, and Crochet. Those three guys. I'm not interested. I wasn't interested in the Nasty Nates. I know he got some stuff. I'm not interested in the Walker Buellers. I had him on my fantasy last year. He's getting lit up every other day. I'm not interested in the Flahertys. I want Manaya. I want the lefties, and I want a number one. I want Corbin Burns.
no, I'm right there with you. When it comes to Sean Manaea. That's another one. I wanted Sean Manaea and Pete Alonso to come as a package deal this week. Following Soto. I don't know what the hell we're waiting for. People are talking about maybe he gets offered 4 or 5 year deal. Ideally, I think you take him back on a 3-year deal, but I wouldn't have a problem giving him a 4-year deal. I felt like that was what it was going to take the whole time, even before we started the off season. As the season winded down, and I looked at his contract, I looked, at comparable pictures and just his age and all that. 4 years, 5 years, but hopefully with a 4-year deal. Now, I was thinking maybe at the 19-20 AAV range. That's obviously not going to happen with the signings that we've seen. With a former teammate of his in Severino and even Kikuchi. So, and
Yeah, we
even
want
with
Manaya back.
Snell got,
If we want Manaya back, it's going to be 4 years in the 100 range at this point.
Yep. But I don't have a problem with that. Again, as we're approaching 9 o'clock, and I want to get out of here, just trying to make sure we didn't miss anything or we touch on the point. We're gonna miss some things. I do got to get out of here at 9 o'clock, and I do want to hit some comments real quick, but maybe we'll touch on some of the things before it even comes up in the comments. One thing that we did see today, and I wanted to share a lot of stuff on this, but we're just not gonna be able to. But we did see some information. Well, Roki Sasaki was finally posted. Everybody was expecting him to be posted January 15 when the new signing period starts, but he didn't have to wait till then. It was after December 9th where those 45 days will take him past January 15th. So he now has 45 days. I believe it's from today. I think he was posted yesterday. I believe the clock started today because the clock starts the day after you're posted, if I'm not mistaken. But there was some positive news today as far as the Mets and Roki Sasaki. At least I thought initially, where some information came out where his agency, his people, whatever, they are high on Jeremy Hefner. Then I found out that the same agency that represents Roki Sasaki represents Jeremy Hefner and Kodai Senga, right? So that gave me a little bit of hope. I know, and maybe you know more about this than I do. I was actually talking to someone earlier today who's always posting on X, Mets 1986. I forget his exact handle, but it's Mets 1986 is what we see, and then I think it's at BK. But he's like, at least to me, he seems well versed on the international free agency and all that stuff. So I was talking to him, and I think everybody's already. Elian Pena is someone who the Mets had a lot of money earmarked for, and we're expected to sign when this new signing period starts, whatever the case may be. But I don't know how that's gonna affect, because if that's the case, then the Mets might not have enough money to go after Roki. I know they could trade for some international free agent money or whatever. But what are your thoughts on that and what we heard today in that little, what you could look at as a positive, maybe something that can help us out? You look
Yeah,
for anything in negotiations, right?
what we heard today was encouraging because now you got the Mets thinking that they actually there's a chance they got a shot. Obviously, when you look at the teams like the Dodgers and the Padres, they're the heavy favorites. But we got Juan Soto. If the Mets were somehow to land Roki Sasaki, it's like confirmation that the stars are aligning. What I'm saying? Like I know it's a long shot, but if they say we got a chance, we got a chance. And if we were to get that guy, let me tell you something. Um, that'll be probably a bigger surprise than Juan Soto signing with the Mets.
No, no, yeah, it would be, it would be. But listen, we've done well with these Japanese guys, so um, maybe we could pull this one off. Now, I did then see some further comments from his agent that were like, "Ooh," where he talked about, he doesn't like too much, he doesn't like to be out there. He likes things quiet. The he might be better suited for a mid to small market, but then at the
Oh
same
no,
time,
he's gonna be in the spotlight here. We're
yeah, right.
coming to
No
see
matter
if
where
we're
he
gonna make
goes, right?
noise. So you better
Well,
come here
I
and
thought you meant
perform.
like no matter where he goes, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm like, ooh, wait a minute. Is he gonna be able to handle New York, or is he even gonna be interested in New York? But it's not like it's gonna be no spotlight in with the Dodgers. You know what I'm saying? So, um,
I mean, we
but we'll
got
see. But he
Senga.
also
You
talked
know what I'm
about
saying?
how
Like
he
we
watched. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, no, I'm saying like we got Senga. So as far as feeling comfortable, who knows?
Yeah, yeah. I'm hoping that's a plus too. I'm hoping Senga's a plus too. I'm hoping Senga tries to recruit. And then he did say also that what you call it, that he feels like he can handle it here. I also saw David Stearns, say that we had already, and it's weird the way that works, right? I think they got to put in a presentation to his people. They look at the presentations that they get from various teams, and then they decide who they want to speak to.
Hmm.
So, um, we put in a presentation. Hopefully, it's a good one. I think we put it in. They said in Japanese. I would think all teams would do that, right? You want the guy to understand what the hell is going on, but we're gonna take that as a positive for the Mets that we did our
I
presentation in
mean,
Japanese.
the Mets sold Juan Soto on a presentation, so I'm sure Steve is gonna do his due diligence. And it's like I said, if we were to get a guy like that, it's gonna say a lot about the culture of the Mets.
Absolutely, 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 and hopefully we do, man, because we're talking about Ace, we're talking about this, we're talking about that, and obviously the kid, and from everything you hear, extremely talented, does need some work. He himself wants to go somewhere that'll help him develop, but he's someone has played professional baseball, right? So it's different than these other international free agents like a Ilian Pena who's going to be signed, and I think he's like 17 years old, and it's not going to see Major League Baseball for maybe 2 or 3 years if we're lucky. Is he
Hmm.
going to be one of these phenoms that comes up at 19 years old? Listen, how many times has that happened? This guy is someone that can come in here and be plugged into right into our rotation, hopefully, and help us win a World Series now rather than later. So I'm all for that. Even if we have to renege on the Ilya Pena deal, because that gets a little complicated, and I wanted to get into that. Like I said, I was talking to homie earlier today, and I even asked him to come on, but not everybody likes to do the camera things. But yeah, shout out to him. Let's see here. I want to get out of here. I don't think there's anything else, but I do. Ortiz, how you doing, man? I've been putting Stoney. What's up, man? Nelson Cruz, how you doing? Let's see. My guy Darren says Spencer Strider was a reliever before he became a starter. Seth Lugo, Lugo. I don't know if that was a typo or or what the hell you're trying to call him. Alternating between starter and reliever before becoming starter. Ranger Suarez. I think that was the other guy, right? No, he's been doing that. I know there was somebody else last year that was turned into that. Um, well, Manaya started as a starter, had some trouble, so they put him as a reliever, right? Because Manaya came up as a starter, if I'm not mistaken, with the A's. It was pretty good. Was pretty good. Then struggled, was put into a reliever, and now hopefully he's going to be part of our rotation as our number 3, maybe 4, if we depending on who we sign, right? Um, But nah, man. Flip, thank you, brother. Like I said, I kind of got to get out of here. I like to acknowledge the people. We got over 200 plus of you beautiful people. You guys know the routine, man. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Like I said, my guy Master Flip, you can find him on X, talking Mets, giving his blunt thoughts on the New York Mets. That's how he made it on the Blunt Thoughts show, because that's what it's about. And a good Met friend, someone I hope to be able to take in some games and act like a lunatic
I'll
out
be at
there
City Field playing next year.
in a
I'll
good
definitely
way.
see you there,
Yes,
brother.
in a good way. But nah, man, thanks again for coming through. We're gonna wrap this up. Shout out to all of you guys, man, for coming through. I'm sure I know you guys are used to me doing this a little bit longer, but I do got to get out of here. I almost didn't do this, but I know we've settled into Tuesday nights. So I wanted to be sure to keep that schedule. Um, let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got here. But Flip, I'll let you go, brother. I don't know. I don't want to keep you as I go through these comments and wrap it up. But again, man,
You
thank
got
you.
it, brother.
Like I said, yo, give him your. I think it's at Master Flip, right? On Twitter, on X.
Yeah. At Master
At
Flip, yeah, underscore.
follow my guy. I was gonna put it up here, and you guys know how I'm horrible with the description and all that good stuff. I'm actually irresponsible about it. But follow my guy on Twitter at Master Flip. Yo, brother, be good, bro. Let's go
It was
Mets.
a pleasure, bro. Let's go Mets.
No doubt. Let's see what we got here. Yo, shout out to my guy Pete Just Commute. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Keep Pete for sure. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We did it. We did it. We did it. Quasi always late, bro. We about to get out of here. That's what's up. That's what's going on. Yo, CP, what's good? What is good, bro? Yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, why not overpay P? We want to overpay everybody else. Why not overpay P? That means he wants to hear none of that shit. That means he wants to hear none of that. I hear you, Amizi. I know. I'm not saying it's gonna age well. I'm not saying it's gonna age well. I'm just saying Pete is one of us, and if we're gonna overpay anybody, why not my guy Pete? Why not? Yo, Ty, what's good, baby? Good to see you, man. Late, better late than never. Isn't that the same? Ooh, I guess Cindy said yes to 7 years, 224 for Pete. That means he says hell no. Hell no. Yep. There's really been no news on Pete. I mean, I guess we got some positive news on Pete where that I guess Pete let it be known that he's gonna give the Mets um a chance to match any deal, right? He's gonna give the Mets a chance to match any deal. So I guess that's good. That's good. Um, yeah, I think that's a little exorbitant. I don't think he's gonna get that. I think that yeah. If that's what the numbers came out to, I don't think he'll get that. Maybe they'll have to give him an extra year than they would like. But listen, I'm willing to do it for Pete. I'm willing to do it for Pete. Let's see. Cindy says Rob and CP have said it's most likely an experiment in spring training. If it doesn't work, it goes to the bullpen. Yeah, I mean that's the expectation. But how quick are they going to pull the trigger on that experiment? I don't think it'll be just a spring training experiment. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love those guys, but I disagree there. I think it would take a little bit longer than that. That wouldn't be fair to tell the guy we're going to bring you in as a starter, and in spring training you pull the plug right away. Now, it also depends on who else you bring in here. If you bring, starters that obviously need to go ahead of him, that's a different story. But I think the experiment himself and the rope that he will get will be a lot longer than spring training. But shout out to my guys CP and Rob. Yeah, I heard about that. I heard about that. I'm glad you bring this up because I forgot to I think I kind of touched on it with Flip. But yeah, man, I think it might be time to give Jeremy Hefner his respect, man. The whole league respects him. All the pitchers respect him. Other teams respect him. You hear about interest in him, on and off all the time. The work he's done with Senga, the work he did with Diaz when Diaz was struggling. I know, sometimes we get into him mound visits and, even with him and Mendoza as far as, who to bring in and out of games. And I always say this. I say this all the time. Anybody that listens to me, we don't know what the hell's going on in that clubhouse and who really is available and who's not. And if they are, what type of availability too. So I try to not be as critical of that. Now, of course, when you have guys walk in the ballpark, as we did for a long time last year, you're gonna lose your damn mind, right? And you're gonna be like, what the hell are we doing? But he's obviously not telling them to throw balls. He's obviously not doing that, you know. But they figured it out, man. I think it's definitely time to give Jeremy Hefner his full respect. Darren says Vlad is a better hitter, has won a Gold Glove at first, but has had some up and down years. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Vlad have a few off years? He absolutely has. And listen, I said it the other day, as a fat guy myself, not that Vlad is fat, but he ain't far from there. So you want to talk to me about worrying about breaking down and body and this? What about Vladdy? And obviously, he's younger than Pete. He's younger than Pete. Like I said, if Pete decides to move on, then hey, go get me Vladdy. Why wouldn't I take another Delomio on my team? Why wouldn't I take a Delomio on my team? You know what I'm saying? I got to do it. I got to do it. Jonathan says, yo, Hector, you're my favorite. This guy must be related. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. There we go. Michael King. Thank you, Ty. Michael King was the other guy turned into a starter who had success. There you go. Is that so? A video made famous by YouTuber coach, should Jeff Hoffman and Clay Holmes become starters? Started this whole Clay Holmes moving to starter. You think so? I'm gonna give the guys in the game a lot more credit than that. All right, guys, I gotta get out of here, but I wanted to acknowledge you guys as much as possible. I appreciate you guys. Listen, we may be back later this week. And full disclosure, I was trying to get my guy Anthony McCarron back on here tonight. Shout out to Anthony McCarron, because I didn't like something he said last night on SNY. And he was like, the Yankees should go out there and get Pete Alonso to stick it back and to answer back the Mets for getting Juan Soto. Anthony, are you crazy? Are you crazy? That is the last thing that I want to see happen. We're going to close on that. The last thing that I want to see happen is Pete Alonso go to the Yankees. If we don't get him back, let him go somewhere else. Not the damn Yankees. And I don't think Steve Cohen will let that happen either. And I'm glad that I've heard that the Yankees are not interested in bringing in Pete Alonso. That is news to my ears. But that is something that I don't want to see. And I don't want to see anyone suggesting that nonsense, even someone like Anthony McCarron, who I appreciate so much. So I was like, yo, Anthony, you got to come on. But he couldn't come on today. It was his daughter's birthday. Happy birthday to his daughter. So he couldn't do that. Hey, give me like 10 minutes today, Anthony. No. We can't do that. But yeah, that's not something that I want to see. I do not want to see that. Guys, you guys know how I feel, man. I want Sean Manaea back. I want Pete Alonso back. I want him at the, for the right deals. I just want to keep improving upon this team. I'm extremely excited. I cannot wait till opening day, just like I'm sure a lot of you guys feel. But let's go, man. We made the move. The time is now. The time is now. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys. Like I said, man, Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Sometimes we get a little bit longer than that. Sometimes we'll have someone join us. Sometimes it'll be just me talking nonsense. But the best thing is that you guys are here. And I appreciate you guys. Every single one of you. We got over 250 plus of you beautiful people up in here. Appreciate you. Thanks again. As always, let's go Mets, baby. Peace.